Good evening, everyone. This is Henry Gambell with SimplerOptions.com, and in today's free video I wanted to follow up on some concepts that I had shared here in crude oil. As you look at the chart today, I guess there is part of this that you could sit here and argue the idea that we have traded in a little bit of a range from about 44, 45 up into 50. Now that would be in the big scheme of things, and what I'm pointing out is just kind of this area right in here, or to some degree you might look to it and think that it would stay inside this range. What I'm looking at that might argue that is that if you come down into the 4-hour chart, we do have a nice squeeze forming here. I looked at this last week, and anytime you have a squeeze that fires opposing the trend and can't really get much done, it didn't really shift the pattern of this chart. I think it really just kind of shook out people that were trying to get it through 50 initially the first time, but now you have the exact same signal. We're still on the buy side of these various moving averages, and I'm looking at the idea that that squeeze can take us up into, 53.44 would be the next $53, $54 I should clarify. That's kind of the next big area for these targets. So with that in mind, but if you don't want to play USO and you're not really looking to play the futures, how else can we try to participate in these moves? A couple tickers come to mind, and I'm going to run through them with you here. When I look at CVX, this is in the whole handful of these are really good looking charts. This is one that I think will still opportunity to the buy side, so consider that. I think the immediate June expiration may be a little tight on that, but if you want to go out into July with 38 days of life left, I think there will be some good opportunity there. If we check out Halliburton, this is a good example of what we would like to see happen. So we covered this ticker back when we had the active squeeze, and it's ended up playing out very nice. I would not do anything with it at these prices, but you show that to try and illustrate what you're looking for from these other companies. Then if we come over and take a look at XOM, a very similar situation. And what I would like to do on these, if I get the chance, is to pick them up on a weakness tomorrow. I would say that XOM is maybe not the easiest out of the group that we've looked at. I actually think CVX looks a little bit better, but a couple of things that you'd like to look at, especially if you're using these indicators like the squeeze that are free on Thinkorswim, just wait for the momentum of this signal to shift. Right now the momentum is still pushing lower, and you can see where you've at least paused at the 618 of your previous major retracement. So I would like to see that shift and clear that level. And then at that point, I think that one will become a little bit easier to buy. And then another, where if you'd prefer to have just exposure to the overall sector as opposed to an individual name, XLE also shows us very similar feelings. Now when you look at a chart like this, you have to ask yourself a lot of different things, but just recognize that if you're getting involved at these types of levels, you should be completely ready and willing to add to your position on a pullback into, let's call it 66.40. So on a pullback like that, I would still absolutely be bullish, setting up either a vertical or just a directional call play here for a move up into 70 and then 72.25 is the main idea with that. And in theory, this will be a little bit more of a steady, calm mover than your individual names may be, though it is showing similar signals. So a couple different ways to get yourself exposed to that. Like I've said, with such low implied volatility, I think focusing on the long side of calls is the way to go. I would step out into July to give yourself plenty of time to let that play out. So that's what I've got for that market. Also just wanted to give you guys one last update on the free webinar that John and Chris will be doing tomorrow night on kind of some of the more precision options trades that they've been working on for short-term gains. And that's going to be tomorrow, Tuesday, June 7th from 7 to 8 Central Time. So if you find that interesting, I hope to see you there. Otherwise, I will touch base with you at the next free video.